They say schools are built to shape minds, but some are built over graves. When I stepped into Holbrook High, I thought I was just transferring schools. I didn't know I was enrolling in a classroom that shouldn't exist, one that remembers every student who ever tried to forget it, a place where the final bell never stops ringing. Before we begin, check your door. If it's open, shut it. If it's already shut, look again. Turn off the lights. Put your phone on silent, because when the lesson begins, distractions get you noticed. And if your name shows up where it never should, you've already been called. Now take your seat. Class is about to begin. The first thing Emily Hale noticed about Holbrook High was the silence. Not the usual quiet of students shuffling between classes, but the kind of silence that hums beneath your skin, thick and pressing, like the moment before a scream. Holbrook had the air of something forgotten. The windows were long and narrow, streaked with grime. The hallways dipped slightly in the middle like the floorboards were sinking. The fluorescent lights above her head buzzed faintly, but none of them flickered. That would have made things too easy to explain. She had transferred in late October. Halloween decorations hung limply across the cafeteria like they'd been forgotten halfway through. The other students barely looked at her. The ones that did had hollow eyes and whispered behind their hands. No one smiled back. During her first walk through the East Wing, Emily noticed something odd. The corridor stretched longer than it should have. According to her map, it ended after room 12, but here, it didn't. It sloped downward slightly, the linoleum floor turning darker, stickier under her shoes. The air grew colder with every step, until she stood at the end of the hallway, facing a door that wasn't supposed to be there. The wood was splintered, the hinges bolted with rusted chains. A hand-painted number above it had been crossed out, but still visible beneath the fading paint. 13. As she stood staring, a whisper passed behind the door. Not in her ears, in her mind. Her name, Emily. It crawled across the inside of her skull like spiders' legs. She stumbled back. She turned to ask someone nearby what it was, but the hallway was empty. Later that day, she asked about room 13. "Old boiler room," said one girl with chipped black nail polish, eyes darting to the hallway behind her. "They sealed it after something." "Storage," said her math teacher, slamming a drawer shut hard enough to rattle the windows. "No such room," said a boy during lunch. Then he looked at her with dead seriousness. "But if you hear them calling your name, don't answer. Ever." Emily tried to forget about it. Tried. But that night, she dreamed of classrooms without end. Desks stretching out into the dark. Screams echoing from blackboards. Her own reflection in a cracked window, but older, twisted, smiling at her with teeth too many and eyes too hollow. She woke up gasping, her nails packed with chalk dust. Her phone buzzed once. Unknown number. Message. Class isn't over. The next morning, the hallway had changed. The yellow caution tape was gone. The chains were snapped, left hanging like veins. And the door was open just an inch. Wide enough to invite curiosity. Wide enough to pull something through. At her feet was a notebook, aged, leather-bound, its corners curling like dead leaves. It had been pushed out from under the door. She picked it up. The front read, "Ms. Halbridge, fall semester, room 13. She flipped it open with trembling hands. Every page was worse than the last. Stick figure drawings of students hanging from rafters. A seating chart scrawled in red ink. Half the names crossed out violently. Others smudged out like someone had tried to erase them from existence. At the bottom of the list, freshly written in uneven handwriting, Emily Hale, late. She dropped the notebook. The door creaked wider. From within the room came a sound no living classroom should make. Tap, 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 chalk on a board. Then a creak. A desk being dragged slowly across tile. A whisper, barely audible, brushing across the hairs on her neck. "Take your seat." Emily turned and ran. She didn't stop until she hit the main office, heart pounding, lungs burning. When she looked back, the hallway behind her looked perfectly ordinary. Clean. Normal. Too normal. In English class, her assigned seat, third row, second from the left, was missing. Gone. Not moved. Gone. When she raised her hand, the teacher frowned. Emily Hale. Yes. He looked at his attendance sheet. You're not on the roster. Her heart plummeted. I transferred in yesterday, she said. He blinked slowly. That's not possible. At the end of the day, she opened her locker. The smell of chalk hit her before she even touched the handle. Inside, on top of her books, was the same notebook. Waiting. Open. This time, it held a single sentence. Class resumes tomorrow. She slammed the locker shut, but the sound felt muted, distant, like she was already somewhere else. Somewhere below. That night, her dreams came back, more vivid. She was back in room 13, seated at a desk. Her arms wouldn't move. Around her, the other students turned slowly, their mouths sewn shut with wire. The teacher stood at the blackboard, her back arched at an impossible angle. When she turned to face Emily, her face wasn't a face at all, just a mirror. And in it, Emily watched herself smile and lift the chalk. Emily didn't sleep the next night. Not because she didn't try, but because something wouldn't let her. Every time she shut her eyes, she'd hear the chalk again. Scratching, etching, writing things no one should ever write. Every time she dozed off, she'd find herself back at the desk in room 13. By morning, she was pale, her fingers stained with black dust that hadn't been there the night before. Her mother didn't seem to notice, just handed her a slice of toast and reminded her to hurry or she'd miss homeroom. Like everything was normal. Like the house hadn't grown colder overnight. When Emily stepped outside, frost coated the lawn, even though it was October and no one else on the street had it. She didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Holbrook High greeted her like it was waiting. The same hallways. The same weird hush. But something was different now. The students wouldn't look at her at all. Not even the ones who'd whispered before. It was like she was already fading. Her locker creaked open on its own. The notebook was there again. The words on the first page had changed. You're late. Again. Final warning. Emily slammed the notebook shut and shoved it deep into her backpack. She didn't care what it wanted. She wasn't going back to that room. Ever. But the school had other plans. It started in biology. Mr. Crenshaw was mid-lecture about photosynthesis when his eyes unfocused. He froze, mid-sentence, one hand raised toward the board. Then, without a word, he turned and wrote her name on the board. Emily Hale. The room went dead silent. Every student turned. Every single face stared at her. She stared back at the board. Her name was still written there, but the chalk, it was writing itself now. Letter by letter. Emily Hale, detention, room 13. The bell rang, but no one moved. Mr. Crenshaw finally spoke. Voice flat. Mechanical. Detention. After school. She stood. Sir, I didn't. Detention. Room 13. His hand reached out, gripped the chalk, and crushed it into dust. By last period, her head was spinning. No one would talk to her. Every teacher repeated the same line if she protested. Detention. Room 13. The final bell rang like a funeral toll. As she stepped into the east wing again, the hallway was even darker now. The overhead lights flickered this time. The lockers vibrated faintly, like something inside was trying to get out. Room 13's door stood wide open. Emily didn't walk in. She was pulled. The moment she crossed the threshold, the temperature dropped like she'd stepped into a freezer. Her breath fogged instantly. The lights sputtered and dimmed, and the door slammed shut behind her. What she saw was impossible. It was a classroom, but it wasn't. Desks were bolted to the floor in spiraling, chaotic patterns. The chalkboard stretched wall to wall, covered in looping, unintelligible writing. At the center stood a woman. Tall, gaunt, her back to Emily. She wrote slowly with one hand, while the other hand was twitching, its fingers twisted backward, holding chalk in reverse. Her voice was a rasp. "Take your seat, Emily." I don't belong here," Emily whispered. The teacher turned. Miss Halbridge, or what was left of her. Her face was cracked like porcelain, with veins of black ink running beneath. One eye was made entirely of chalk, spinning slowly in its socket. "Everyone who enters this school belongs here." In time, she stepped forward. "You open the notebook. You read the names. Now you must remember the lesson." Emily backed away, only to trip and fall into one of the desks, which latched shut around her, pinning her wrists to the arms. A sharp pain shot through her hands. She looked down. Nails. Rusted. Driven into the wood. Not holding her in, but growing out of her skin. She screamed. The walls began to hum. From all sides came whispers, dozens, then hundreds. The chalkboard shifted, its surface rippling like water, and Emily saw reflections of other students, trapped, banging on invisible glass, their mouths open in endless, silent screams. Miss Halbridge moved to the front of the room. Her hands hovered over a roll call sheet written in blood. "Let us begin." She pointed to an empty desk beside Emily's. Michael Reed. Absent. Another desk. Cara Lewis. Absent. Another. Tyler Bryn. Late. One by one, the names were called. Each time she spoke, the room shook slightly. With every absence, a piece of the chalkboard crumbled, and the whispers grew louder. Until finally, she pointed to Emily. "Emily Hale." Emily clenched her jaw. "No." Miss Halbridge smiled. It was the kind of smile that split a face in half. "You're here, but your soul hasn't been marked yet. Let's fix that." A chalk stick floated to her hand. She dragged it across the board, and with each stroke, Emily felt pain tear across her back, burning symbols etched into her skin. She screamed again, but this time it didn't echo. Instead, the room grew quieter. Everything stopped, and then a voice. Not Miss Halbridge's. A girl's. "You don't have to stay." Emily twisted. Behind her desk, hidden in the far corner, sat a girl no older than 13. Pale, hollow-eyed, wearing an old uniform. Her name tag read L. Marsh. She beckoned silently. "You're new," the girl whispered. "But not the first. I've seen them come and go. Mostly go." Emily gasped. "How do I leave?" The girl's eyes flicked toward the blackboard. "Erase your name. But it keeps writing itself. Not if you use real chalk." Emily looked around. There, buried in the drawer of the teacher's desk, one stick of old white chalk. Bone white, carved with markings. The teacher hissed suddenly, turning toward Emily with unnatural speed. "You will learn," the girl shouted. "Now." Emily wrenched her wrist free, ripping her skin in the process. Blood sprayed across the desk. She lunged forward, dodging Miss Halbridge's clawed hands, and grabbed the chalk. The board fought her. Every time she erased her name, it reappeared. Over and over. Emily Hale, late. Emily Hale, detained. Emily Hale, marked. Her hand moved faster. Scrubbing. Writing. Screaming. Finally, she slashed through it, carving with the bone chalk one word over her name. Forgotten. The board cracked, then shattered. All sound stopped. When Emily opened her eyes, she was in the hallway, lying on the floor outside room 13. The door was closed again, chains re-wrapped around it like nothing had happened. A custodian walked past, glanced down at her. "Lose your way." She sat up slowly. Her clothes were clean. No blood. No notebook. Just the cold. But when she checked her backpack, the chalk was still there, and her back ached like something was still etched beneath her skin. Later that night, at home, she peeled off her hoodie and looked in the mirror. Across her spine were faint, chalky scars, shaped like runes. And in the center of her back, one message, barely visible. "Finals begin soon." Her bedroom door creaked. A cold wind blew in, and from somewhere behind her, chalk scraped softly. Emily didn't return to Holbrook High for 2 days. Her mother thought she was sick. She was half right. Emily lay in bed, feverish, the scars on her back glowing faintly beneath her skin at night. She couldn't explain it, not to herself, not to anyone. All she knew was that something had marked her, and now she could feel things, see things. Like the hallway shadows that moved before the lights did, or the classroom windows at night, reflecting children who shouldn't be there. And worst of all, the voice. Low, patient, scratching softly in her head. One student absent, one soul unclaimed. By the 3rd day, she understood. Room 13 wasn't finished with her. On the morning she returned, Holbrook felt changed. The halls were dimmer than usual. Teachers blinked too slowly. The air smelled faintly of mildew and chalk, no matter where she walked. But the scariest thing? No one remembered room 13. Not her classmates. Not the teachers. Not the janitor. She even asked the principal, Mr. Dorman, directly. East Wing? That section's been sealed for years, he said, confused. No room 13 on our roster. You sure you're not thinking of an old building? Emily didn't reply. She just stared past him at the hallway clock above his door, which had stopped ticking. That day in the library, she made a plan. If no one remembered room 13, maybe someone had recorded it before it was buried. Old student files, news clippings, anything. She convinced the librarian, Miss Kinley, to let her into the archives, down in the basement, where no cameras worked. The moment Emily stepped into the archives, the light buzzed above her and dimmed. The floor creaked, even though she stepped softly. Dust filled the air like it had been waiting for decades. She opened the file cabinet marked Staff Records, 1950s to 1990s. And she found her, Ms. Vera Halbridge. Hired, 1972. Position, history teacher. Dismissal, no record available. But there was more. She found an old newspaper clipping. Teacher reported missing after student vanishes. October 19th, 1987. Holbrook High School teacher Vera Halbridge disappeared Monday after being questioned regarding the sudden vanishing of student Laura Marsh, 13. Marsh was last seen entering room 13 after school hours. Room 13 was sealed by the district following an unrelated structural collapse the following year, and no evidence of wrongdoing was found. Halbridge was never seen again. The article had a grainy black and white photo. It was the girl Emily saw in room 13, the one who warned her. Laura. Emily's stomach twisted. She flipped the paper over and found something odd, chalky symbols scrawled along the margins. The same ones burned into her back. She wasn't hallucinating. This was a pattern, a ritual. Room 13 didn't just appear randomly. It was summoned. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Laura's eyes in the mirror, kept hearing footsteps outside her door. At midnight, her phone buzzed. One notification. New file received. Lesson plan _13.doc. No sender. No app. No explanation. Emily's fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside were pages and pages of redacted text, most of it unreadable, except for the final lines. The room requires 7. 7 students, 7 marks, 7 years of silence. The teacher must be remembered. The bell must toll. The lesson must end. Then her screen went black, and a single image appeared. A class photo. Holbrook High, 1987. 7 students, all smiling. In the back row stood Halbridge, arms around them. The last girl on the left wore a name tag, L. Marsh. Next to her, a face Emily recognized but couldn't name. Then another. Then, Emily, wearing the same clothes she was wearing right now. The next morning, she made a decision. She had to go back, but not alone. She found 2 people who still half remembered room 13, students who had also found the notebook before but never opened it. Liam Tran, Sr., always kept his headphones on, said he heard scratching every time he passed the East Wing. And Zoe Calder, Sophomore, draws runes on her arms to keep the whispers out. They met behind the gym after last period. Emily explained everything. They didn't question her. Zoe had once seen a teacher walk into the East Wing and never come out. Liam had a scar on his hand in the shape of a number, 13. Together, they made a pact. They would enter the room, erase the list, and break the lesson. At exactly 4:13 p.m., they entered the East Wing. This time, the hallways welcomed them. Lights flickered on one by one. The smell of chalk and smoke filled the air. Room 13's door creaked open slowly. No chains, no locks. Just a red glow inside. And one desk. Waiting. Emily stepped through first. Zoe followed. Liam hesitated until the hallway behind them vanished. They were inside. The room had changed again. Now it looked like an auditorium, the desks arranged like pews in a church. At the far end stood a tall blackboard, curved like a pulpit, etched with glowing red names. 6 of them. Laura Marsh, Michael Reed, Cara Lewis, Tyler Bryn, Vanessa Singh, Leo Gutierrez. And now, a 7th name flickered into place. Emily Hale. Beneath it, a line of chalk moved on its own, slowly spelling out more. Final exam commences now. The walls closed in. The floor groaned. And Ms. Halbridge appeared. She no longer resembled a person. Her body cracked open with every movement, chalk dust pouring from her mouth. Her eyes bled ink. Her fingers had turned into sharpened rulers. "You brought more," she rasped. "Excellent." Zoe tried to run. The floor swallowed her feet. Liam raised a pocket knife, but the ceiling dropped chained textbooks like iron hammers, forcing him to the ground. Emily stood her ground. "You don't want us. You want to be remembered." Halbridge hissed. "I was forgotten, expelled from memory, erased by cowards. But students never forget their teachers." She raised her hand. The chalkboard behind her shimmered, and from it stepped the other 6 students. Eyes blank, limbs broken, walking like puppets. Zoe screamed as Laura Marsh lunged for her, whispering, "Class isn't over." Liam tried to block the others, but they moved too fast, jerky, stuttering, glitching across the floor like corrupted video. Emily stared at the blackboard, the chalk, the list. She had one chance. She reached into her hoodie pocket and pulled out the bone-white chalk. It burned in her palm. She ran. Halbridge shrieked, lunging toward her, but the chalk sliced the air like a knife, glowing brighter the closer it got to the board. Emily jumped onto the teacher's desk and began writing. Not her name, not anyone else's, but Halbridge's. Vera Halbridge failed. The students froze mid-lunge. Halbridge screamed, "No, I pass every student. I write the rules." Emily kept writing. Vera Halbridge dismissed. Vera Halbridge erased. The board cracked. Dust exploded from the walls. Zoe and Liam were yanked back into reality, their chains shattering as the other students collapsed into chalk piles. Halbridge lunged once more, but Emily turned the chalk on her, and with a final stroke, carved across the floor. Lesson over. The room exploded in light. Emily awoke in the school nurse's office. Zoe sat beside her. Liam stared out the window, silent. The nurse said they'd been found unconscious in the East Wing. Said there was no room 13. But the hallway? Gone. Bricked up overnight. No explanation. Later that evening, Zoe handed Emily a folded piece of paper. Inside was a photo. Their class photo. Only this time, there were only 3 students. No teacher. The space where Halbridge once stood was now blank. Underneath, someone had scribbled, "Some lessons are better forgotten." There was no more school, no more routine, only shadows, the cold hum of chalk, and the slow suffocation of reality bleeding away. Emily didn't sleep after that last return. She couldn't. Every time her eyes fluttered closed, she was back. In the classroom, trapped behind her own eyelids, seated at the 2nd row, 3rd from the left. Bound by rules written in ink no longer red, but black and seeping. The worst part? Every day she was more awake in that classroom than she was in the real world. And each day, more students disappeared from Holbrook High. Not that anyone remembered them. Every time one vanished, a new desk appeared in room 13. Aged, splintered, but always ready. Their names would carve themselves onto the cracked blackboard. Slowly, painfully, like the chalk was screaming. Evan Gwynn, absent. Samantha Ortiz, late. Tyler Rhodes, non-compliant. Emily tried to warn the others. She tried to talk to teachers, counselors, the principal. But every conversation ended the same way. Blank eyes, vacant nods, and the slow turning of their backs. Holbrook was already under the spell. The school wasn't haunted. It was a vessel, a feeding ground. The final clue came from the janitor. He was an old man with a hunch in his spine and hands stained permanently gray from years of grime. Everyone called him Mick. Emily found him late one evening scrubbing the east hallway floor. Only it wasn't dirty. It was bleeding. A dark fluid seeped from the cracks beneath room 13's door, forming symbols that shifted if you stared too long. Mick wasn't cleaning. He was erasing, chanting under his breath. Emily approached slowly, heart hammering. "Why are you cleaning it?" Mick looked up. His eyes, milky white, never blinked. "I ain't cleaning," he rasped. "I'm trying to keep it from growing." He tossed the mop aside and stood, wobbling. They opened it once in 74. Fire took out half the school. Only 4 bodies recovered. But we lost 13. He pointed a shaking finger at the door. Room 13 was never supposed to be reopened. But when kids forget the old rules, when they get curious. He trailed off, looked at Emily, then whispered, "It knows your name now, doesn't it?" She nodded. Mick's lips trembled. "Then you don't have much time." The next morning, room 13 was open. Wide open. Emily stood at its threshold. Beyond the door, the classroom looked like it always did in her dreams. Dim, decaying, and impossibly large. Desks stretched into the void, flickering overhead lights humming above like insects. The teacher stood at the far end, back turned, hand poised over the chalkboard. On it, "Final exam. One student must stay." The students seated in the desks turned slowly as she entered. Their faces were waxy, their eyes sunken, but she recognized them. Every missing student, every vanished soul, all still here, all waiting. The teacher turned, a slow, cracking motion like old wood snapping. Her face was Emily's face, but not quite. Twisted, void of life, smiling too wide. A cruel mimicry, aged by horror. She gestured to the one empty desk, Emily's usual seat. Behind her, the blackboard began to bleed names again, one by one, until only 2 remained. Emily Hale, Ava Barnes. Emily blinked. Ava, her best friend, the only one who believed her, the one who helped her steal the attendance book and figure out how to burn the student list. Ava, who'd stood by her even after the fire alarm incident. Even after Emily dragged her to the threshold of room 13 in the middle of the night and demanded she listen. But Ava didn't come to school today. She was late. Late or chosen. Emily stepped into the room. With every footfall, the door behind her groaned, and then slammed shut. The world warped. No more sounds from outside. No light. Just the slow tick, tick, tick of a skeletal clock above the blackboard. She moved toward the desk. Her desk. Her reflection in the cracked window watched her every move, grinning. The teacher floated, not walked, toward her, hands outstretched, fingers ending in sharpened nubs of chalk, screeching along the air. Emily froze. Then, another sound. A second door creaked open. From the far side of the void classroom, Ava stepped in, her face pale, confused, eyes wide with terror. "Emily, Ava, don't sit." Emily screamed. "It's a trap. You can't let it have you." But the classroom didn't allow shouting. Her voice came out in a whisper. Still, Ava hesitated. The teacher hissed and raised her arm. Chalk fingers snapped like bones. Ava's name began to carve itself into the blackboard. Emily acted on instinct. She pulled her backpack off and hurled it at the board. It struck with a boom that echoed like thunder more than sound. It cracked the room itself. The blackboard split. A scream burst from the cracks, not from a throat, but from the walls. The classroom shuddered. Students moaned in their seats. Their heads fell forward. Dust erupted from the ceiling, and then the fire alarms blared. Mick, he had pulled the alarm again, just like in '74. The classroom fought back. Desks slid toward Emily and Ava. The teacher's smile warped, mouth splitting from ear to ear, chalk spilling out like teeth. Emily grabbed Ava's hand and ran. The desks twisted, turned, formed walls, hallways, a maze. But Emily had studied it. She knew room 13's layout. She pulled Ava through a door behind the teacher's podium. They burst through darkness, sprinting down stairs, through bookshelves soaked in ink, across halls wallpapered in detention slips and torn report cards. Finally, they saw it. A door, glowing, not with light, but hope. They ran. Behind them, the teacher screeched. A siren wail of fury. Desks hurled across the hallway. One clipped Ava's leg. She stumbled. Emily turned back, lifted her, and together they dove through the door. They woke in the school auditorium. Daylight poured in through shattered windows. Emergency lights flashed. Sirens howled in the distance. They were surrounded by teachers, students, paramedics. Alive. Room 13 was gone. Or buried again. 2 weeks later, Holbrook High permanently sealed the East Wing. No one remembered the missing students. Not even their parents. Only Emily and Ava did. And Mick, who disappeared the night of the fire. They kept the notebook, the one that started it all. But every night since escaping, the chalkboard scratches return, somewhere in the dark. And Emily wakes to one new message every morning, always written in fresh dust. Class is never dismissed. If you're still here, it means you made it out of room 13. But be warned, once you're marked present, it doesn't forget. And neither should you. Like, share, subscribe to Haunting Corner before the bell rings for you.